Good evening, guys. Welcome back. We're the FPL Duo. We're here to stream for Game Week 11 reaction, and we're also going to look ahead to Game Week 12. But yeah, what a weekend of football! A lot of interesting results to speak about. I think a lot of interesting players as well to speak about. A lot of interesting teams. Maybe things that we didn't expect as well this game week. There's a lot to chat about. I think. But it's been another game week where it's not gone my way personally. I know a lot of people have done well from what I see, but we will come on to all that in a second. But yeah, how's your weekend been so far, Jordan?
It's been, in terms of fantasy and Premier League, it's been a roller coaster of a week. I think it's been very up and down, and yeah, I think I'm glad we got a 2 week international break after this, because I think some of us do need it just to reflect on our teams and obviously decision makings that we've obviously led us to this moment in time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, where do we kick it off with? Let's take a few comments. We've got Manish, 77 points with a -8. 68
Nice.
points for Harry with captain Bruno. So fair play. If you went there, it was Bruno getting the 2 goals, I think it was. Let's kick it off with my team. So we've just seen Arsenal play Chelsea in the 1-1 draw. I think the draw is probably the fair result when you take into account the game and how it went. As you can see, I've got double Arsenal defense. I thought Raya played quite well. A couple of crosses he caught quite nicely, I thought. So yeah, but he comes with a 2-pointer. Gabriel as well, 2 points. Not really much to shout about there. The Arsenal double up has not worked at all since game week 6, because obviously they've conceded nearly every week. I've not had a single clean sheet as far as I'm aware from Arsenal. But this is when they have the fixture turn, so we'll see if they improve in that regard. Moving on to Rico Lewis, and I think this one we mentioned. Even though I captained Haaland, I did say to Jordan, I could see a 1-1, or I could see Brighton getting something, because I was very impressed with the way Brighton played against Liverpool. And I said to myself, if any other team, Liverpool were at Anfield, and they could have, Liverpool were maybe a bit fortunate not to concede at least a goal. So when I saw them do what they did to Man City, I was not that surprised. We know Man City have now lost 4 games in a row as well for the first time in a long time. I think that's the first time in Pep's career since he's lost 4 in a row. So that's a big result. Lewis comes away with a blank, sort of at fault as well for the winner on the floor, and then a bit of a muddle up with Vardio, and then obviously João Pedro, who I'll come on to in a second. He's someone that I'm looking at in my team actually. But yeah, very disappointed with Man City assets. I don't think Lewis has got me a single clean sheet, which, yeah, it's disappointing. He's not worked out. Kate Nuri, at least he gets me something. He comes away with a clean sheet in that game, which was nice to see. I think Wolves. I watched that Wolves game. 2-0 win. Annoyingly, of course, the guy I bring in, Strand Larson, blanks, and the Cunha, the one I couldn't afford, goes and gets a goal and an assist. I think he got a 12-pointer in the end. So, yeah, very disappointing. That Cunha was the one that returned, and he's very highly owned now by a lot of people that have got him in, because most people have now sold Haaland. So that's a bit frustrating. But 8 Nuri can't complain. I've had him for a long time, and it's nice to get some returns from him. In the midfield, one man saving that whole midfield. One man I should have never have doubted for this game week, because I just had a feeling that Salah was gonna score. Ended up scoring late on in the breakaway goal. He gets a header, intercepts his own header, then runs down the line, and then he just dinks it over sort of Martinez. But yeah, Salah again, goal and assist for him. We know he's playing really well. That's now 10 goals and 10 assists for Mo Salah, and in 11 games. So this is the best start Salah's ever had to a season, I believe, in terms of any season he's had at Liverpool. The strongest start. He's gonna get 200 points, I think, again for the 8th consecutive season. Yeah, just main disappointment with Salah really is that I didn't captain him, because when I had that feeling all week, and I ended up going Haaland last minute just because I thought I'd try to be different when everyone has sold him, but it backfired. So that's one thing that could have saved me. But yeah, going forward, Salah's got Southampton. I'm definitely going to captain him there. I'm not going to think about it twice in that regard. And Burmo, did get something for me in that game, which was just the assist. Now we know Mbeumo has been on fire this season as well. He gets the 1 assist in their 3-2 win against Bournemouth. So surprisingly, he wasn't involved in terms of a goal, but I'll take the 5-pointer from him. Palmer, I'm very disappointed with personally. Expect more from Palmer in these bigger matches when he plays the likes of Liverpool. I thought he was very anonymous. Playing Arsenal now, another big game when you expect, the likes of Salah that show it time in time out. Haaland shows it in the biggest games, in the biggest moments. I expect more from Cole Palmer, and what I'm looking at going forward with Palmer, like when he has the bigger teams, when you look at his returns this season, the big returns against Wolves when they were struggling, Brighton as well. We know how Brighton likes to play open, expansive football. Did score against Newcastle, but a lot of his goals I feel like come in those games against the bottom 10. So it's one to watch, but he does have nice fixtures coming up as well. So I think you want Palmer next. I think Palmer could be a great captain next week, actually, when he plays Leicester away. We've seen Man United just beat Leicester 3-0. Palmer could actually be a captaincy shout over Salah, or he could be tight there, because I expect Palmer to do well next week. Rodgers, I played him against Liverpool just because I didn't want to play Archer, and Archer actually outscored him. So, was one of those. I think Rodgers didn't do too much. I think he had one shot, and Gravenberch done a really nice block. But I thought Aston Villa had a couple of breakaways there where they could have maybe, if they were a bit smarter around the box, done something. But apart from that double save from Kelleher, I think when Kelleher made that really nice double save, apart from that, as I was watching that game, I wasn't too threatened. Thinking Aston Villa looked like they're going to score here. I thought Liverpool did well. And Aston Villa are a good team still. Like, I know they've not been good recently, but they have threat. Watkins, Duran, Rodgers. It's not an easy game. I expect Aston Villa to bounce back. So I'm just not going to be rushing out to get rid of Rodgers anytime soon, because I'll still want to play him in some easier fixtures. Semenyo, again, I had to play him because I didn't really have anyone on the bench. I really hate my team right now. I feel like I want a wild card. I feel like I'm having to force into playing Strand Larsen and Archer and Semenyo. So many cheap players I'm having to play just because I've got Haaland and Salah. And when I look at other teams, they've got Solanke, Cunha, and Wood or Wissa up front. So that's what's, it's just been one of those weeks where it's just been rubbish. Semenyo blanks. When Strand Larsen, the guy I bought in, blanks, and then Cunha goes and gets a haul, which was frustrating as I wanted Cunha, but I couldn't afford him due to me having Haaland and Salah. And then Haaland, finish it off with him. He did score, so it wasn't all doom and gloom. However, it was not enough, because for us, for a Haaland captain, I thought really to be worth it, we needed a Salah blank or a Haaland brace or even a hat trick, which, maybe looking into it, we should have just picked, Salah. He's playing better. Liverpool are playing better in general. Man City, again, another game where they struggled. I thought first half they were decent, but second half, that's the worst second half I've seen from a Man City team, I think, ever. Like Brighton, Brighton played really well and they took the game to Man City, and we saw what João Pedro does. And now João Pedro is back. I am looking at taking out Haaland for João Pedro personally, and that will give me 6 or 7 million elsewhere to spare. Or actually more than that. To play around with. But yeah, that's what it is. Haaland, obviously, Salah captainers have won. I think even the people that sold Haaland have won so far, because people that sold Haaland did it 2-3 weeks ago. And it's already paid off because Haaland's had one return in about 5 matches. So yeah, fair play for those that did that. On the bench, annoyingly, Fabianski gets a clean sheet. In hindsight, I probably should have played him, because why am I playing double Arsenal defense against Chelsea? But I didn't really think of it that way. Archer, blank. Mikalenko gets the 6-pointer as well. I was never going to play Mikalenko, I don't think. I didn't expect a clean sheet. I mean, maybe hindsight, I should have seen it when you think about 2 poor attacking teams in Everton and West Ham. You had a 0-0 written all over it now that I think about it. So, that's how the game week's gone, guys. It's been a pretty terrible game week. I think it's a 380k red arrow. And that rank now sits at 2.4 million. And we're in game week 11. So rank does start to be, it's sort of important now, the rank, I think. But I've got to start making good decisions. And I think I'm going to start with some surgery in this team. That big decisions need to be made, and we'll get on to what I'm going to plan on doing.
Wicked. Yeah, it has been a very snakes and ladders kind of game for one half. Obviously, you're doing very well, and the other half of us are doing not so great in that respect in terms of our team setups.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Haaland's the big no. I think at the moment, I think that debate is settled. Whether you keep all sell him now.
It's the thing with Haaland, he will still get you goals. Like before, people think he's never going to score. He actually scored a goal, but it's the captaincy shout. Because I just think there's better captains than him now, and I'll rather captain a Salah, a Palmer, even when he's got to get better fixtures, and I can get away with it because he takes up a lot of budget. If you get rid of Haaland, then it allows you to have, as I said, a João Pedro, Wissa, and because the great thing, the beauty about this season, normally those cheap forwards don't return, but this season is changed. You've got Wissa who's getting goals, Chris Wood is banging goals. Even João Pedro, who we saw yesterday, and he's now fit. You've got Cunha, who's getting goals. Every cheap forward really is getting you 1 or 2 goals, which is sort of matching Haaland in that regard. And if you're going to captain other Salahs and stuff on a regular basis, then you can sort of get away with it because, for 15 million, you have to be captaining Haaland. If you don't captain Haaland, then it takes away his appeal, in my opinion. But I mean, we'll come on to that in a sec. Well, what's your team looking like as well? Obviously, you had a better week than me, but talk us through.
Yeah, I mean, I did take another -4 this week, which I didn't really want to, which kind of slightly adds to the frustration from this week, judging how it's gone. But obviously, we start off with Hermanson in goal. Obviously, I didn't expect a clean sheet for Leicester, but I had to play him anyway. And he only gets 1 point against Man United in that 3-0 loss. So expected, not too bothered about that. So let's move on to the defense where it becomes more fortunate. So like I did mention, guys, when I said Man United do manage to get clean sheets here and there, and they in fact did this game week. So quite happy with Mazraoui. Now, I'm not entirely sure if he's got bonus points or not because due to the bonus points changing now, but at the current moment, he has a bonus 2 on top of his clean sheet points. So he's on 8 at this moment in time. That might possibly change. I don't know. I'm not sure. I need some more clarification on that from the actual website, but that is what his points stand on at the moment, which I'll be happy with it if it does stay like that. But yeah, good result for Man United, and he could have had an assist as well if Bruno's second goal counted, but it was ruled out. So yeah, not a double haul from Mazraoui, but still a nice return. Moving on to Van der Berg, who I took as part of my -4, didn't pay off. Again, no clean sheets for Brentford so far this season. It didn't take long to concede against Bournemouth, and it was a very action-packed game, 3-2 in the end. So Brentford did end up winning that game, just about getting it over the line, but nothing whatsoever from Van der Berg, only 1 point. And finally, moving on to 8 Nuri, who was very popular this week, obviously against Southampton, the outstanding fixture, 6 points, clean sheet, and 2-0 win. First win for Wolves, finally. I think there's some relief from, obviously, Gary O'Neill for the first win of the season. Now I think they can relax and keep carrying on the momentum. Moving on to the midfield 5, so Palmer, who was a slight doubt but ends up playing anyway, gets only 2 points. Very isolated in that game. Not really much involvement. I mean, the first half, I think he had 1 shot on target, which looked the most threatening from him. But apart from that, the rest of the game was pretty quiet from him. And yeah, very lacklustre performance. But it was Arsenal overall, tough fixture. So wait and see what he does next. Moving on to Mbermo, who I've had him for my second week after bringing him in, and he has managed to get me an assist. Quite surprising, considering Brentford scored 3 goals and Mbermo only got an assist from any of that returns. But I guess it's a return nonetheless, 5 points from him. And yeah, I guess I'm happy with that. Brennan Johnson, on the other hand, this result, I'm not too surprised at, judging from the Galatasaray game where they were poor. And it showed again this game week against Ipswich. Spurs were really poor defensively. And they go and lost 2-1 to Ipswich in that game. No attacking return from Brennan Johnson. Solanke did have a goal ruled off as well. He did score, He could have had a second, but that was chalked off. So yeah, poor result from Spurs. Obviously, spoke about Salah and his 14-pointer, scoring the goal, the assist, and getting the bonus free with the clean sheet. Very happy for obviously the captain as you've gone with Salah. They've won the game week. And finally, moving on to Garnacho, which when I saw the lineup for Man United, I was in an utter state when I saw him on the bench. I thought, oh, here we go. This game week is done. It's game over. But he did come on for around half an hour, and he scored a nice goal from outside the box. Curled it in, top right corner. And yeah, thankfully, that's 6 points for Garnacho. And yeah, happy with that. I think he saved me from a red arrow and my whole entire team because he was the -4 I took for him to bring in for obviously McNeil. So I'm quite happy with that. Moving on to obviously the front two, Haaland was the captain. It looked good at the start of that game in the first half where he scored the first goal for Man City. And then later on, second half, it all went down the drain for Man City and Haaland. He also picked up a yellow card just to add insult to injury. And because Man City lost that game, he also lost all his bonus points.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that as well. He was on 2 bonus, I think.
Yeah, he was on 2 bonus points, but when that second Brighton goal went in, that was it. They disappeared from Haaland, so 10 points for him in the captaincy. And Chris Wood, interesting result. Nottingham Forest did lose 3-1 to Newcastle, considering Newcastle played away and Nottingham Forest played at home. I guess their run of wins had to eventually come to an end, but yeah, not very great performance. Quiet from Chris Wood. Not many opportunities given for him in that game. In terms of the bench, no points whatsoever. Keane didn't play. Vardy Marston obviously is a non-playing goalkeeper. Wheatley non-playing forward. Only Fies was the only one to get any points with 1, and obviously he was Leicester, so no clean sheet for him. In terms of the rank, it is a slight green arrow, but as in very slightly, because my old rank was 380 or 3.8 million. It's now 3.7.
Okay.
So it's a slight green arrow. I think obviously that Mazraoui and Garnacho return helped me out a lot this week.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that's how Game Week 11's gone. At least I ended on a green arrow before the international break.
Yeah, we'll take a few comments as well in the chat, and then we'll also discuss Game Week 11 bus teams because there is a lot to ponder in these couple of weeks. I'm actually glad that I don't think about FPL, but I'm enjoying the season obviously so far. But it's just the FPL season is not really going as planned. Let me just bring up my bus team for the next game week. Yeah, just don't like the look of my team really. Maybe it is a bit knee-jerky, but looking at my team, yeah, it's not keen. A lot of players there I just don't really want to have anymore. Rico Lewis, I know he's cheap, but I might even just play Mikalenko against Brentford. But Brentford are a team that score a lot of goals. So, yeah, in terms of the midfield, I mean, Salah's locked. Unless something crazy happens, if he gets injured, that's the only way that Salah won't be my captain in game week 12. He's 100% locked. Some might say, you can go Palmer because we've seen Leicester are not, they're not great. Man United put 3 past them, but I'm not going to go there in that regard. Rodgers has Palace. Semenyo has Brighton. They're not bad fixtures. Palmer has a good fixture, and Mbeumo has Everton. So I think the midfield looks nice for this week. Defense, bar Lewis, which I'm not keen on. Arsenal is an interesting one because I've got double Arsenal now. They've got the good fixtures. Nottingham Forest at home, and Nottingham Forest we know have been really good this season. Arsenal haven't won a league game now for 4 games. The last win is a while ago, about a month ago now. It seems so. Arsenal need to win if they have any chance of getting back into the title race. This Nottingham Forest home game is a must-win. So I don't mind playing both of these players in that game. So I'll leave that for now. It's the attack where I'm not, keen on Haaland at the moment. Haaland's got Spurs at home. He probably will score against Spurs. We've seen Spurs just lose to Ipswich 2-1. So it's more the fact that the money that will sell Haaland, that will allow me to change the team and bring in players I really like. So first up, it will allow me to bring in João Pedro. João Pedro has Bournemouth away, which I like the look of. And then that will allow me to take Archer out. Gives me 15 million, which is crazy. So I could take a -4, and then I could even bring in, I don't know, Acuna. Now it still gives me 8 million in the bank. And I've got Cunha and João Pedro up front, and I'll captain Salah. And then even the week after, I can go Strand Larsen to, I don't know, whoever's got a good fixture. I can get Isak in because we know Newcastle are doing well again. You know, the team just looks so much better. Then I've still got 5.8 million in the bank. I could even do something crazy like take Semenyo out and get in Bruno Fernandes. Just for example, look how much money I still got 3.1, and that team, this whole squad, just looks so much stronger. Which is what I like. And then even the defense, if I want to upgrade that, I can take out, I don't know, Mikalenko. I don't want Trent, but I could maybe switch to a Trent. I don't know. Yeah, I can even get a Trent in. That sort of the madness that you can get when you get rid of one of Salah or Haaland. So definitely, I think I'm going to be selling Haaland. I had that idea a couple of game weeks ago. I just didn't follow through with it because I was worried with Haaland. But now that I've fully watched Man City for a couple of weeks now, they are not the same team. They are struggling, and I expect them to carry on struggling. I think Haaland will still get goals, but I don't see them getting 2, 3. Haaland getting that many. So that's why I'm going to make that decision. I will come on to you, Jordan, in terms of what you plan to do with Haaland, because obviously I've made my mind up. I'm selling him. A few more comments. Patrick, 81 points all out, went from 644k to 276.
Big jump in rank there. Green arrow.
Yeah. Would you bring in Jackson or Isak for Calvert-Lewin? Already have Wissa and Cunha. I think João Pedro, Patrick, you take a look at Brighton, their fixtures. Bournemouth next, Southampton after that, Fulham, Leicester, Palace, West Ham. And João Pedro is 5.4 million, less than 10%. Only issue with him, he does pick up some injuries, which you see he played for 25 minutes, got an 11-pointer, goal and an assist, which is more than Calvert-Lewin has given me. He's literally, Calvert-Lewin has played 6 or 7 games and got 11 points. He's matched that in one game, which is mad when you think about it.
Yeah, impressive. It is a bit risky. Obviously, he's just come back from a more relatively injury, but risk without reward, let's say.
Yeah, I like Pedro. I think he's a great player. But we'll see what he does. But I like the fixes that Brighton have.
Yeah, because you were a fan of Evan Nilsson.
Yeah, another one. Yeah, another one I've completely forgot about. I could even bring Evan Nilsson. I was so close to going Evan Nilsson. The reason I went Strand Larsen was to cover Cunha. That's the only reason. But Evan Nilsson scored yet again. That's now 3 games in a row he scored against Villa, Man City, and Brentford. He looks like he's getting used to the Prem now. He's a good player, I think. Brighton, Wolves, Ipswich, West Ham in the next sort of 5-6 games. He's a great pick as well. I prefer João Pedro over him, but if you want to go different, this guy at 1.3% ownership, again, another player that's looking to do really well, I think. Wissa or Welbeck, probably. I don't know who actually.
I'd go Wissa because I thought he did really well against Bournemouth. Well, he got 2 goals.
I'll go Welbeck just because the fixtures. Like the next 2 is nice for Burmo. Wissa. Sorry, I should say. But after that, Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal in Gameweek 9. I think longer term, I like the Brighton assets because they've got the fixtures now. I sold Foden to Saka, and now Saka is injured. Didn't watch the full game. Does it look serious? It's hard to tell.
I don't think it's serious.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But again, we'll have to see with Arsenal. I mean, he probably will be fine. Evening, Huss and Jordan. Great show as always. Thank you for that, Shax.
Yeah, cheers, Shax.
Huss top captaining Haaland.
But I think that's the last chance to do now. I think Harry for the captaining over Haaland. I think this game we can certainly put that into check, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think he's already had 100,000 transfers out already, and it's the international break.
It's just mad because I know if I took Haaland out, he would have got a hat trick. That's the thing with Haaland.
It's that hindsight.
Yeah. If we sold him, I bet he gets a hat trick. And then we're like, just one of those. I feel like every move I've made is just not worked.
Well, the way it looked when Haaland scored that first goal, it was looking like it was going to be one of those where Haaland could score a brace.
Yeah. But yeah, to be fair, when I've watched Man City this season, or not this season, because the first 5 they look good, but recently they have struggled, and I think is it just because we see Man City every season they have a little wobble in the winter period, and then they sort of turn it around, they hit that gear in January, and they go on a massive run. Rodri's a big one in that regard, but we'll have a see what happens.
I think that's what it is. I mean, it's a very big thing, but I think without Rodri, literally, Man City just fall apart. I know it's just one player in the team, but he is by far the most important player in that squad, and they've lost him for the entire season. And it's just shown for these last 6 game weeks without him how different Man City are without him.
Yeah, I think the other thing with Man City, they've got a couple of aging players now, and I think they do need to refresh that squad as well. Gundogan, Kovacic in there, plus the injuries they've got as well.
Yeah.
KDB coming back, but again, we know KDB, is he reliable to stay fit now to the end of the season? I don't think he is personally. He's not someone that he does pick up knocks now and then. KDB, but yeah, it's been a bit of a mad season so far. A lot of unexpected results. I mean, we didn't expect Man City to lose, 2 in a row in the league. That's sort of unheard of from Man City. But their fixtures wise as well, these are tougher games. I know Spurs lost it to Ipswich, but Spurs are one of those teams that usually do give Man City a tough game. It is a home game for Man City, so you still expect them to bounce back. Don't see them losing another game, but Liverpool after that at Anfield, it's not going to be an easy game. Forest, we know they're playing well. Man United might become interesting now because Amorim's there. Man United definitely will look better. It's not the same Man United that will just get run over. It makes it a bit interesting with a new manager now. Villa away. These games, I just don't see where I'll be captaining Haaland. If I had Haaland, I think Everton at home in game week 18, which is when I might even wildcard or whatever. So, I think we can sort of. I mean, let's come on to your boss team. What's your team looking like at the moment?
Well, in terms, obviously, my team, I'm relatively happy with it. I've got Hermanson in goal. I've got Chelsea. I mean, tough fixture, but again, I'm not really too concerned about the goalkeeper right now because, again, not many clean sheets are coming really forward. In terms of the back 3, I've got Mazraoui. He's got a good fixture against Ipswich away, which I'm happy for. Obviously, this is why I brought Man United assets in for these nice fixtures, and Amorim will be for that obviously fixture first time on. Van der Berg has Everton away. I mean, some point you expect a Brentford's clean sheet coming, and with these nice run of fixtures now for Brentford, I expect them to pick up some clean sheets now. Nuri has Fulham away, so their run of good fixtures still continue for long term. So yeah, I expect clean sheets again from those back 3 defenders. In terms of the midfield, we've got Palmer. He's got Leicester away. Again, another one where he should bounce back after Arsenal, and potentially a good captain pick if you're looking to go different as well. Wouldn't back against it. And Burma has Everton away. Obviously, nice one too. Johnson, Man City, tough one. But again, is it really tough the way we see Man City now? I mean, Spurs could give Man City another headache after the international break, and I don't think that's a bad choice having still a Spurs asset in your team, like a Brennan Johnson, Solanke or Son. Salah is obviously the captain. I don't think that has to be debated after his last haul of 14 points. And he has Southampton away. So, yeah, no debate whatsoever with that. Garnacho has Ipswich away. Depending on how Amorim prefers Ahmad or Garnacho, I quite hope he does prefer Garnacho over him, even though they both play together today because I think Rashford did get subbed off for Garnacho instead of Ahmed. But yeah, hopefully he does start in that fixture and not get benched again. And out front, we've got Haaland, who's got Tottenham, and Woods, who's got a difficult fixture against Arsenal away. So it is a mixture of good and bad fixtures, I think, in terms of my team. But I'm not overly underwhelmed by it. I think it's a decent team still to go back off the international break. And obviously, you've got Keane, Fies, and Wheatley on the bench, and Bardi Marson as a non-playing goalkeeper. I have considered rolling, if I'm honest, in terms of I've taken a back-to-back -4, so I feel like I do want to roll a transfer now and kind of save myself using any more transfers and taking players out, especially now with an international break. I think I'm going to obviously wait and see if there's actually injuries as well to consider. 2 weeks. So yeah, I think wait and see what happens. We'll come back to the team after the international break, see if there's any flags or not, or serious injuries, and we'll take it from there. But it looks like I'm going to roll regardless of anything else happening.
Yeah, I'm going to try wait and see in terms of injuries for international break, but assuming everyone gets back fine, I'll sort of make my moves from there. But I will be looking to bring in a Cunha or a João Pedro, one of those type of strikers that I want to bring in. But again, we'll have to see how it goes, guys. Let's take a few of the comments. Bryce says, I captained Bruno Fernandes. 76 points before bonus.
Nice.
That's a good score there. Is João Pedro nailed with Rotta in the squad? I think João Pedro will be nailed, personally. I just think the reason he's not been playing is due to injury. He's one of their better players. If he's fit, he may get early subs potentially, but I just like the differential aspect of him. He's very low owned, so that's what I like about that move. But yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, Welbeck's there as well that can play up front. Dear Bruno, thank you from the bottom of my heart. First time I've owned you this season and put the captain's armband on you. I will never forget this day. You single-handedly saved my game week. Yeah, Bruno, big week. We did say if you're gonna bring in a Man United player, probably be Bruno, Garnacho, or even a Haaland. Those are the three that I've said may want to bring in. Bruno was the standout one, I still think, but it was very hard to get him into your team unless you sold Haaland or Salah. It's hard to fit him in with his price tag and having Palmer as well. Ideal back five for FPL? Question.
I'll say Mazraoui, Aït-Nouri, Aina.
Yeah.
And in terms of the other two, I'd probably say Van der Berg and
I think Nouri's up there. I still think I know Arsenal have just have not really impressed. There's no clean sheet for Arsenal now in the last when did the last keep a clean sheet? I'm trying to think. Spurs in Gameweek 4. But I think Arsenal can get a couple here in this run. Fixtures are decent now. They've had some tough games. We may get one or two, but I don't know if you want to spend that sort of money on Gabriel. His attacking threat hasn't really been there as well in terms of set pieces. Today, slightly, he had a couple of corners where he looked he might get something, but defenders wise, I'll still be going cheap. Aït-Nouri.
Non-premiums.
Yeah. Obviously, Trent, I don't know, he went off injured. I don't know how serious it is. Hopefully, he's fine, but I don't think I'd even go Trent. I know Liverpool are playing well. I think I'd even avoid Trent. I wouldn't go for any premium defenders. I just think it's maybe at the moment what the play looks like is more expensive midfielders like Salah, Palmer, Son, Bruno, these type of guys, and going cheaper defenders, and then having 3 forwards or having a good bench as well, having Cunha. We've seen these sort of players now. I mean, in terms of points, total points. It's been a mad season.
I think it's safe to say you can definitely go about non-premium defenders and invest the money in the forwards and midfield.
Yeah.
Even downgrading the forwards to cheap ones, because we've seen how many cheap forwards have performed this game week. And pretty much he's pumped.
Van Dijk's actually the top scoring defender so far. He's only got 1 goal, 1 assist. So 1 goal, 1 assist for the season. Most of his sort of, he's not had a double-digit haul. He's just consistently getting, obviously, the clean sheet points that he does get. So, and he is decent for bonus as well. So, Vardiol, we know he's got a couple goals already this season, 3 goals, quite impressive. Ola Aina, who I had in my Game Week 1 team, he didn't keep a clean sheet, but he's been okay as well. 3rd highest scoring defender. Salah is now by far and away the most in terms of midfielder. I think 107 points for Salah. 2nd is Palmer with 84. And then there's a bit of a gap now from going down from Saka, who sort of the other ones are on 60 points. Because the great thing with Salah, normally if he scores, he gets the free bonus. So yeah, that's another ownership, 48%. I think that will go up coming weeks. Tough games though for Liverpool coming up as well. Southampton looks nice on paper, but after that it's the big one. City, Newcastle away is always a tough game as well. So we'll see what he does. In terms of forwards, Haaland is still the top scoring forward of the game, 82 points. Wood is 2nd with 68, but there are quite a few that are sort of. You look at Wissa, 54 points, but he has missed a couple of games due to injury. I think 4 games he missed, with 3 games. And the fixtures are decent for the next 2 at least. In terms of cheap strikers, Jordan, what's your thinking? Who do you like out of the cheap forwards? Raul's there as well, which got an assist in their win.
In terms of cheap forwards, I like Wissa.
Okay.
Absolutely, he would be my outstanding one, I think, to go for, just because of the nice fixtures Brentford have up next, and the fact he scored 2 against Bournemouth, which Bournemouth have seemed to have been hard to score against other opposition teams. I think he is the one that I'd be most likely targeting for the next few fixtures that Brentford have.
Yeah, 6 goals, 2 assists for Wissa, and he's not played. He's only played, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. So 6 goals in 8 games isn't a bad return so far. He's also under 10% ownership. Welbeck's an interesting one. He's doing pretty decent this season. 6 goals, 2 assists. Maybe going under the radar how good Welbeck's doing. And I really like Welbeck's fixtures. That's why I'm looking at João Pedro, because I think Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham, Leicester, Palace, you can hold him in a fairly long term. Game week 19 when he's got his first sort of red fixture game, which is Villa away. And then Arsenal at home in game week in January. So you can keep him now until the busy period. It's just trying to see if he's going to nail it down. But in terms of minutes, he does play majority of the full game usually. A couple of early subs at 72. Back-to-back 90 minutes against Liverpool and Man City. So I do like Welbeck. Raul Jimenez has done well as well, 4 goals, but fixtures do turn slightly, so I'd probably avoid Raul Jimenez now. Jackson is an interesting one as well. So he's got 6 goals so far this season. Scored a goal today, but it was offside. He's got decent run of games coming up as well. Very long term, you can just keep and hold. I do think he's going to be a popular option.
Yeah,
especially if you get rid of Haaland.
Yeah, around that more higher price margin with his 7.9.
Yeah,
you can potentially swap him for another border on that price mark, because a lot of them are cheaper than Nicholas Jackson, but he's a good, I think, affordable one to go for at high price.
Yeah, Havertz obviously the other premium sort of striker. Hasn't scored since game week 7, but the fixes are easier now for Arsenal, so we'll see. I think Arsenal are wait and see for the next 2 at least. Delap scored today and got an assist in the big win for Ipswich, their first win in the Premier League, I think since 2003. So that's huge. They've got some decent games coming up. So if you need a cheap forward, but because there's so many good options, I probably would avoid Delap, but he can get you goals in these games. Evan Nielsen, I like him. 3 games in a row he scored. Fixtures are decent as well. So again, one to watch. Isak, yep, go.
Yeah, I think Isak is the one that's been slept on, I think, a little bit, even though he's 15% owned at the current moment. But yeah, he's had 3 goals in the last 3 game weeks, and 2 of them were, well, one of them was against Chelsea and the one against Arsenal. And then obviously he's just scored against and got an assist against Nottingham Forest. So yeah, he's definitely one. In the next 2, you potentially might look at when he's got West Ham, who have struggled. Crystal Palace have also struggled too. And it looks like he's found his form back now, and Newcastle altogether have as well.
Yeah, Isak definitely one option. 8.4 million though, so slightly more pricey. But if you don't have Haaland, you'll be able to get to him pretty easily. Bar Liverpool in Gameweek 14, there's a lot of green fixes here. So yeah, I like him as well. The pick. There's so many good striker picks. I feel like, which is usually not the case. Usually it's Haaland and then sort of no one else really, non-playing or cheap backup forward.
And obviously, I think that does come down to we've seen a lot of underdog teams that obviously they're not playing other competitions. They're getting a full week's rest. That are doing much better than the more expensive ones that are doing midweek fixtures in between. They're not really performing to their standards, like Watkins. High value, obviously forward, not performing that well. And we've seen Aston Villa struggling, not used to midweek fixtures. And yeah, that's just how it's going at the moment for this season.
Yeah, in terms of Watkins, fixtures do sort of look decent now for the next couple anyway. Chelsea away could be tough, but Palace at home, I think that's a great fixture. Brentford at home, Southampton at home, a lot of home games. So don't rule Watkins out. I don't think, guys. I think he could be a really nice differential, but his ownership 23%. So don't know how many of those are active teams, but I think Aston Villa could sort of turn it around. They wasn't bad against Liverpool. I know Liverpool won 2-0, but there was moments where they could have maybe done a bit more. He only played 64 minutes though, which is a bit of a worry. We know Champions League is there, so you can't. You are going to sometimes get 60 minutes off Watkins, as we've seen early subs from him a couple of times this season.
Yeah, because I still think the better option for an Aston Villa asset is to go with Rodgers instead of Watkins. It just saves up more money.
Yeah,
you kind of expect more goals, more minutes from Rodgers, and Watkins at 9 million kind of maybe wasting a bit more money going for a player that's not performing as well.
Yeah, I think Haaland could be interesting. Next 2, he's got Ipswich and Everton, and we've seen Man United win 3-0 today. Amorim's first game is against Ipswich. Sorry. So if you want to take a punt on Haaland, Everton after that. Arsenal is going to be a big game away. But yeah, it's just one to consider. But yeah, other than that, there's so many options in strikers now, which I like definitely. But yeah, let us know, guys, in terms of Haaland strategy. If you've sold Haaland, who would you go striker wise?
Yeah, there's so many. You're spoiled for choice from this game week. There's so many. Jimenez, Wissa, Cunha. You got absolutely loads to pick from, and I don't think any of them are bad choices for after international break. But you can save so much money bringing in 2 players for one when you do take out our native team.
Kawanda says, "Good evening, lads. Delap or Raul to sell for Cunha." I mean, Delap's got the fixtures, but I'd probably still sell Delap just because he plays for Ipswich. I don't know if that's what you'd come with down that line as well, but did score 11-pointer today.
Yeah, I would keep Delap. He's one of those, he's a decent third forward that you play in some fixtures and bench in others. I think he's around that price where at 5.6 you can bench and start him, but I think I would get rid of Raul Jimenez.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not sure about this Arsenal defense. They tend to defend better as a team against the bigger teams, but still concede, and against the lower teams, they get lazy and concede. Fair shout from Shax. But I think I do want to watch them now against the teams that are more expected to win, because we know they've had some tougher games against Newcastle, Liverpool, even Chelsea is a big game today. So, yeah, again, I'm not fully convinced with their defense, but I do think they'll keep a couple more in the next 4 or 5. Brentford 2 away fixtures though, just Harry. Thinking of bringing Pedro back in. Great fixtures. Yep. Brighton do have the fixtures now. And they've looked impressive in back-to-back games against Liverpool and Man City as well. 79 points with -8 Salah cap.
Oh, big. There's a lot of people are taking a lot of big hits, especially -8s this week. Which is interesting.
Yep.
Paid off.
And then another comment here: Haaland out before the home game against Spurs. That Spurs defense is so bad, even when they have both Romero and Van der Ven. Lost to Ipswich at home with that so-called good attack. They were pathetic. It's interesting with Spurs.
Yeah, because it was similar to Galatasaray. Their defense was terrible in that game. Sort of mirrors the defense we saw against Ipswich. It's just awful.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. I just think with Haaland, the decisions come down to captaincy. Because I'm not going to captain Haaland for the foreseeable. That's why I'm getting rid of him. But I wouldn't be surprised if Haaland did score against that Spurs defense. But as we've seen with Spurs and most teams, they usually do sort of. Spurs are a strange team. They can go and get a draw with Man City and then maybe lose to Ipswich and vice versa. We've seen them sort of do that this season. They beat Aston Villa 4-1, last week.
Yeah.
Spurs are. I mean, if Spurs won today, they would have been third in the league, which goes to show like how quickly, if they got that win, it would have been a big boost for them going third in the league. Because they lose, they're now ninth.
Yeah, similar to Nottingham Forest, they could have obviously, I think, stayed in third if they won today, but they lost against. If I can remember who, my mind's gone blank.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the table. Arsenal back in fourth. I've just seen level on points with Forest. Brighton are also on 19 points. Sorry, guys. There's 4 teams with 19 points at the moment, from Chelsea to Brighton, and then Fulham on 18, Newcastle 18. Very tightly congested in that sort of 4th to 12th even.
Yeah.
Or even Man United with 13. Man United are on 15 points now.
Yeah, it's still early days, obviously, to see where teams are finishing the table, because it's like similar to FPL, we're still close in terms of rank.
Yeah.
But it's not split up yet.
Yeah, still early days. But I think it's going to be a mad season. Shax, I agree though. Without Haaland in your team, there's so much you can do with that 15 mil. Yeah, that's sort of where I've gone with it now. Because I don't think if we were in that perma cap Haaland situation, that boring situation where you have to captain Haaland because he's scoring 2 or 3 every week, then I would keep Haaland. But because we're not in that perma cap territory, there's not that fear there for me anymore about having to perma cap Haaland. So that's why I'm sort of swayed into it. I can get the odd goal from Wissa, I can get the odd goal from Cunha or Evan Nilsson here and there. And if Haaland does score, if Haaland scores, it's a 6-pointer for him, 7-pointer for him, which I can sort of get away with.
I mean, even if you're scared not to obviously keep him in your team, you don't have to captain him. It can be someone else. You don't have to fear now, really, not having a captain over Haaland, because not many people are really going to pick him for Spurs. I don't think casts a break.
Because for me to bring Haaland back in, he would have to do what he was doing at the start of the season. He got 3 against Ipswich, he got 3 against West Ham, he got 2 against Brentford as well. So that sort of form is, if he does that again, then obviously we'll have to straight away bring him back in. But for those that keep the faith with Haaland, there is quite a lot of you still, 65%. Are you captaining him against Spurs and Liverpool? That was what it would sort of come down to. But yeah, 15.2 million. I think he had a price drop, Haaland, I believe. I think it was 15.3, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. He's slowly dropping in price and ownership. Maybe eventually Salah does overtake him down the line. We'll have to see if Man City's performance still stays the same or improves.
Yeah, or comment here as well, got 52 points down to 900k from OR. Just have a plan to get him back if required. I think this is about Haaland. Have 2 free transfers. Yeah.
Minimum, it will take 2 transfers to get Haaland back in.
And even if you have to take a hit, to get Haaland back in at -4, it's not the worst thing if you're going to captain Haaland that week. So even if you're in a position where you can't get Haaland back in one move, or even with freeze, taking a hit to bring in Haaland to captain him isn't the worst idea. Because if he's got an Ipswich at home and you don't have him, worst comes to worst, you could take a -4 because a lot of people have taken -4s for players. Haaland definitely worth it usually. I'm doing Haaland to Cunha, Welbeck, Johnson to Salah, and Vardiol to Gabriel. Interesting.
Vardiol to Gabriel is a very intriguing move, moving from Man City to Arsenal. The fixtures do swing though, but I'm still not convinced of bringing in an Arsenal defender.
With Man City as well, I'm not convinced with Man City's defense either. Like, when did they last keep a clean sheet? I'm just gonna have a look. Oh yeah, Southampton, to be fair.
But then they've had 2 this season.
Yeah, Southampton and Chelsea. And Southampton, are probably the worst team in the league. I think it's fair to say. Chelsea, I think they played Chelsea at a good time, first game of the season. Man City's defense, in terms of the big chances they're conceding now, you don't normally see that from a Man City.
And it was really messy, that defense against Brighton. Like, there was players on the floor, the ball was being played around, and it wasn't cleared, and then obviously João Pedro gets it.
You've frozen, I think, Jordan. Hold on. I'll let him come back in, guys. Went Larson instead of Cunha last minute. I did the same, but mine was due to budget reasons. I couldn't afford Cunha, so I would have went Cunha if I had the money. Sorry, Jordan, you backed out.
That's right. I'm back.
Yeah. Also, guys, please drop a like button on the stream. There's so many of you in here, not enough likes. So please get the likes up if you're enjoying the content. Hit that subscribe button as well if you're new around here. If you're watching for the first time, like and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 1.3k subs. Done Haaland to Isak and Semenyo to Salah.
Oh, interesting. Early moves.
Yeah, I mean, Salah, you should be fine because Salah isn't going to international duty, so he'll be at Anfield unless he gets touchwood in training. But Salah is chilling over the international break, which again is another great thing to have him, I think, because he's going to be fully rested without any travel. What people need to remember is the Kneejerk can be quite an easy thing to do in the FPL. Yep, this is the Kneejerk stream. If you've missed the points on a player the previous game week, there's a high chance they're blank next. Yeah, I agree with that. It's not always. Salah could go and blank against Southampton for all we know. It is possible.
It's happened before.
Yep. When we rush in to get a player, and then they go and blank. Usually, it does happen that way in FPL.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it has been frustrating for both our teams this season so far. I think this is where obviously we have to keep our patience, not do anything drastic or hasty after a frustrating week.
Between Saka and Palmer, who is the most crucial to bring in? I definitely think Palmer. Palmer has Leicester next. Saka has Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have been impressive. Palmer's fixtures do turn again. Palmer's had some tough games, recently. Liverpool, Newcastle, Man United, Arsenal in the last 4 fixtures. And he's got 1 goal in that run, which again is just when I'm thinking, Palmer, I expect more from him in these bigger games. If considering how good he is and he's talked about as one of the best players in the league, I think he doesn't need to do it in these bigger games. But that's away from FPL. Going on to FPL, he's playing these teams like Leicester, Southampton. These are games where he can get a double, like a 2 goals and an assist. He has that potential in him, and there is captain-worthy game weeks for him here. When Salah plays, I think he plays Man City. You could captain Palmer, if you like as well. So yeah, I definitely prefer Palmer. With Arsenal, I mean, Saka limped off as well again, so we don't know how serious it is. He's probably fine. He'll probably play over the international break. What do you think of Arsenal, Jordan? Because obviously, you look at Arsenal's fixtures. Liverpool's a tough game. Newcastle is a tough game away at Newcastle, and then Chelsea still. We know Chelsea are improving. Bournemouth, they lost to Bournemouth, but they did have the 10 men, and Bournemouth did play well that game. They've not obviously the bad form has come in the last 4 game weeks. They've now got a decent run on paper: Forest, West Ham, Man United, Fulham, Everton, Palace. Do you expect Arsenal to turn it around and go and win 4-5 in a row, or do you think there's more issues there that we're not aware of or talking about?
Yeah, I think they'll turn it around, but in terms of FPL, like I've been without Arsenal assets. I'm just going back until I realise how
1 second,
long
I'm just
it's
going to
been.
get my charger for my laptop. Just give me a second.
Okay. But yeah, the last time I went an Arsenal asset, it's been a long time. Literally, game week 3 was the last time I had an Arsenal asset in my team.
Sorry, what was that?
Game week 3 was the last time I had an Arsenal asset in my team. Since then, I've had 0 Arsenal assets, and it hasn't really bothered me much in terms of because if you look at the amount of goals, like I mentioned before, obviously before Leicester and Southampton, Arsenal have scored 2 or 1 goals in their fixtures, which they're not the most high scoring team so far this season, apart from those 2 against the newly promoted teams. Since then, again, it's just after those newly promoted teams, they scored 2-1 here and there. It's just, I don't think it's enough to bring in, and the clean sheets as well, 3 clean sheets this season. It's not enough to bring in a defender or an attacker with the amount of goals. And
do you think they go on a run though, or do you think they'll get a defeat or a draw to like Fulham, or how do you see away from FPL as well? Like, do you see them just going on a run, or what have you made of Arsenal? Obviously, their start.
They have struggled. I mean, we saw against Chelsea, they struggled. It's a tough game, but I think they do go on a nice run now. I mean, Man United could be the one that maybe a bit difficult, but apart from that, they got a nice run of fixtures all the way till game week 21. If you consider Brighton a difficult fixture, which they draw against them in. So I think they go on a nice run. They have to if they want to stay in the title race, because it's slowly slipping away. So they have to turn up now.
I'm just trying to see how many wins I can see in the next. If they've got a run now, they need to win quite a few of those in a row and build up a lead. I'm not sure they will though. I'm not sure.
No, they'll probably drop points here and there in between fixtures, draws.
Yeah, let us know, guys, what you think about the Arsenal assets. Should we bring them in now because their fixtures have turned? They've got the nice run now. But who do we bring in here? And if so, do you see them going on a run? Guys, let us know in the chat. Rutter for Brighton looks good. Yeah, he does look like a decent player. Brighton, just look like a really good team right at the moment. The new manager's forgot his name for a second. Herzler started off the season really well. Rutter, yep, he's got 2 goals already for the season. We know João Pedro is back. Brighton have so many midfielders. Actually, I just realised that list is so long.
Yeah, I think that's what's good as well, because the manager does very good subs, like we saw Believer and João Pedro come on in that game for Man City, and it turned it around for them in the second half. So the manager has a lot of players dispensable to go for in the squad for the midfield.
They've got a good squad, midfield, attack. Maybe they could do with a couple more centre backs, and they could. They are building a strong team out there. But yeah, João Pedro is one I just like. I'm going to watch what happens with international break if he does go on international duty, because the last time he got injured was actually on international duty. I remember I owned him, and then I had to sell him because he came back injured. See, he's missed the last 5 games and back with a bang. But before his injury in international break, he also had 2 goals in the first 5 games of the season, or the first 4 games, because he missed the Ipswich game as well, I think. So he was doing well. He had a good start to the season. I think he scored against Man U, scored against Arsenal.
And I think the annoying thing is as well, a lot of us brought him in when he had Ipswich, so we missed out on all the points João Pedro got before that, and obviously because of injury, we didn't get anything from him since.
Yeah. I think the Saka pick is because he's on pens and he isn't explosive like Palmer, but one thing in his favour is that he does tick along nicely with goals and assists. Yes, fair point. Saka does get you a goal or mainly an assist, I think. But he doesn't get you like a double-digit haul. He might get you like a 7-pointer.
Yeah, he might get you an assist. Most likely an assist rather than a goal. But at the price similar to Palmer, where Palmer's scoring more goals than Saka, it sort of makes it more sided towards Palmer instead of him.
Yeah. I have a good feeling about Saka, says Yinka. I'd say bring him in. So, yeah, one to watch with Arsenal and their attacking players. If I drop Haaland to Cunha, Pedro, I can move Johnson, Foden, Semenyo to Saka, Palmer, and Son. See, that's what, I mean, getting rid of Haaland allows you to bring in Johnson, Foden. Sorry, allows you to bring in Saka, Palmer, and Son. That is a big, it's a lot of premiums there. So, yeah, I would do it personally. I'm already committed to Haaland out. He's definitely coming out my team, I think, no matter what. Might even do it today. The only reason I haven't is because injuries might happen, international break, but I'm 100% Haaland's being sold.
Yeah, patience is the key, I think, for now. But yeah, for premiums, that is quite incredible considering it's very hard to fit 3 in, let alone 4.
But that's it, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. End of the stream. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has joined. If you've enjoyed this knee-jerk reaction stream, please do smash the like button on the way out. Sorry. And yeah, I just think it's not been a great game week, but hopefully game week 12 is a lot better. International break now, so we have a bit of a break from FPL. So I'm looking forward to the break. I think I need it in terms of the FPL.
Yeah, I was about to say I think we both need this break. It's been too much of a roller coaster these game weeks, captaincies, players, and other sort of issues. It's just it needs a 2-week break now, and glad to have it.
We'll go from there, man. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you in about a week's time for the Game Week 12 content. Peace out.
Yeah, take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and see you in a week's time.